Hey, want to make a superhero? Mystique superpower is to change her appearance at will. Closest thing we have to that in the real world is octopi and cuttlefish, so let's figure out how it works and if we can make it happen in a person. Octopi change color via these specialized cells called chromatophores. Each chromatophore is a flexible membrane filled with pigment like a balloon full of paint, and it's ringed by muscle fibers. When these muscle fibers flex, the chromatophore pulls flat and the pigment becomes visible. Human skin also has pigment, but it pretty much only comes in one color, and we use a very different kind of cell to make and store it. While you're developing in the womb, your cells, in addition to just multiplying, have to figure out what they're going to be, where they're going to go, and who's going to do what job. A collection of cells becomes a structure called the neural crest, which sends cells all over the developing body with strict instructions on what to become. Some cells with instructions to become skin become melanocytes, which produce melanin, which gives skin its color. So if you could take a human embryo, find the neural crest, find that first handful of cells that are going to become melanocytes, and replace them with octopus chromatophores, would you end up with a person who had octopus skin? Maybe. I was able to find one report of scientists doing something similar, but in reverse. In 2016, a group of scientists injected human neural crest cells into mouse embryos while they were developing in the womb. These mice had been genetically engineered to produce no melanin on their own, so any dark hair that they were born with would have to have come from the human melanocytes. And it kind of worked. The human neural crest cells integrated into the mouse embryos, became distributed throughout the skin, and produced pigment that was visible upon their birth, but only a tiny bit. But it's important to note that in this study, the scientists didn't remove any of the mouse's own melanocytes before adding the human ones in. They just sort of put them in on top and hoped for the best. If you removed the native melanocytes first, you could potentially get a much more dramatic result. Or the embryo could just die. And even if you had octopus chromatophores inside your skin, it doesn't necessarily mean you'd be able to use them. In octopus skin, each chromatophore is ringed by muscle fibers that can stretch them in different directions with incredible precision. Being able to control the multi-dimensional shape of individual cells requires an immense amount of processing power. So to make a human being who could not only grow but also control their chromatophores would probably require some serious neurological rewiring that's unfortunately above my pay grade. But in a world where a human being's nervous system was up to the task, replacing a developing embryo's melanocytes with octopus chromatophores in the neural crest could lead to some pretty mystique-y results.